video. Boom, there we go. And so, if you don't know, we are now live streaming on YouTube and the Facebook page of Cigar Talk Podcast. Now, hey, here's a couple of other announcements I wanted to give you. If you haven't joined our Discord, come on over there. The link is in the show notes. We have great community at the Cigar Talk, and we actually call it the Cigar Talk Circus because it's crazy. But come over there, and we're gonna start doing where we're gonna start our own poker league. You don't play poker, do you?
I love poker.
Do you really?
Yeah. Hold on.
Are you serious?
I am.
How did I not know this about you?
You did, but you've had a few drinks since then.
Wow, I did not know that.
Now, I'm not saying I'm great.
It doesn't.
At it.
If you played and you understand how the game is played,
Absolutely.
that's all you need to know.
Yeah.
Have you ever where do you play?
Oh, I haven't played in
years.
15 years. Yeah.
Why?
I don't know people who regularly play.
That's what sucks about Abilene. Before I moved here, I played weekly with people.
Yeah, I guess I've played in one tournament locally. So, and that was
played in one locally too.
Yeah, that was back in like 2004. So it's been
nearly
20 years.
This was back. You remember when they were going to open that poker parlor over there on Butternut?
Yeah.
And Abilene as a town, we're assholes, and we're like, yeah, we're not going to let you do that.
Not doing it.
That doesn't fall into the guidelines of, the Baptist or Church of Christ.
But by golly, those people play bingo like that. Nobody's business.
And you know what happened is they opened it in San Angelo.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I've been to Lubbock. Those poker rooms are all over. Like if you want to go play Hold'em 24/7.
Oh, we're missing out.
That's Abilene for you.
Mm-hmm.
But we are getting an Insomnia Cookie Factory. They make cookies, at least in Lubbock. They stay open till like 2 or 3 in the morning, and they make awesome cookies. Like
I'm excited to try them. I've
some kind of mint cookie, some kind of chocolate chip. That's always a hit. But my favorite is oatmeal and raisin. Like if you perfect it to where it's not dry and crumbly, but it's chewy, but you get all the, you know what? I'm going to issue a contest here now. Zeka and Sham, not Shamu, Sham. Y'all make oatmeal cookies and let's see who does the best. Those are like 2 dudes that cook all the time. Anyway, yeah, I'm excited they're going to come here. We're excited when anything new comes to Abilene.
Pretty much.
I mean, it's not on a regular basis that we get new stuff. Now, have you ever been to the Hooters here?
Not the local one. I think the only one I've been to is in like San Antonio. And again, that was 25 years ago.
Yeah. Well, I've never been to the one here because I'm not that big of a fan of their food.
I honestly forget it exists. It's in the worst location.
Well, that's how Abilene wanted it.
Designed for truckers pulling off the highway and go to Hooters. That's what it's designed for.
But it's horrible to get there if you're in a semi.
You have, no. You have to park at like Lowe's or something and walk.
Right. And it's like 100 yards away from Lowe's. So that's not, I don't like it. Anyway, we're going to, you know what? I wanted to ask you, how was Dwight Yoakam last night?
Dude, Dwight was awesome. So if you're a Dwight Yoakam fan, this dude played every freaking hit back to back to back to back that you would expect. And
how long was the show?
Oh, he played for at least I'd say a good hour and a half. He had an opening band, and
he did.
Yeah, they were from Lubbock. They were, I don't know, early 20s, mid 20s.
And were they any good, or did they suck?
They were good. I tell you, they were the most diverse band I think I've seen in a long time. Just you would not expect to see them being. I know I'm like country, music artists and stuff. So
okay,
but no, Dwight sounded great. He did his little shimmy that you would expect, and you would
the little where he puts the guitar out in front of him and dances with the guitar.
He's playing to the crowd, absolutely. And what I also appreciated about him is a lot of these older guys, and he's about to be 67. A lot of these guys who are in their 70s, maybe early 80s, that come through town, they spend a lot of time talking, and they are trying to take a breather. understandably, I mean, you can't fault them for that, but they want to tell a lot of stories, and Dwight spent 95% of the time
doing
playing.
music,
Yeah.
which is what we come to see.
He was an artist.
You want to tell stories, go do an interview somewhere.
Now, tell us about the concert you went to recently.
So I went to see John Conley, and that was nothing like what you went to. It was, not anything like what I was hoping for.
Tell us what you experienced. What was it?
I experienced a bunch of dudes from the old folks home, and I'm sure you can't see this, but that's that dude standing there. He looks like he's about heading down to the old Walmart. And if you can see right there in the picture, look right there, he pulls out a stool so he can sit down in between songs and tell a story.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's the whole thing. And you know what the best part of that was? I had good seats, and John Conley's voice sounds exactly like it did 40 years ago. It's just he did like 4 of his hit songs, and then it turned into a revival. And I was like, I didn't know that was coming.
Rob,
but
did you get saved?
Nope, I didn't go down.
Come on.
And in between each song, though, I mean, conversations with people in the crowd.
Killing time.
So, are you from around here? I'm like, everybody's from here. Exactly. Nobody's driving to Abilene to see John Conley.
Oh, I'm sure there were plenty who did.
Do you think? Well, and I'll say this though, like, I was one of the younger people at the concert.
Oh, I totally believe that. And those were my tickets. I was gonna go and opted not to, and I gave them to you.
He was gonna go and like, I didn't know it was a revival. I'll give these to Rob. He needs help.
The plan worked almost.
Yes.
So close. But we've got another concert we're about to go to.
And I'm very excited about this one.
Yes, we got several actually. You and I are going to the same two.
The Bacon Brothers.
Got that.
And the funny thing is, when Hatch told me that we were doing the Bacon Brothers, I was like, I don't know who that is. And she's like, are you serious? And then she said something about Kevin Bacon. And I was like, oh, yeah, I know who Kevin Bacon is. So I just didn't know, he was a musician.
And then right after that, who'd we get to go see?
I didn't know you were going to that one.
Yeah.
It's Stewart.
Marty Stewart.
Marty Stewart. And I'm a big fan of Marty Stewart. In fact, I sent my youngest brother, Russell, a video yesterday of Marty Stewart with Merle Haggard doing the Farmer's Daughter song.
Yeah.
And I told him, this always makes me think of Dad, because our dad loved that song. He loved Merle Haggard, but he also loved Marty Stewart.
Yeah.
So seeing that video, I'm looking forward to it. I'm like, dude, he has got to play that song.
I hope he does.
Like, I don't even know where we're sitting, but wherever you're sitting, I'm sure you're like close. You need to carry a sign that says Farmer's Daughter. Like, that would help me out.
I could just yell out like at the John Conley concert.
I yelled out. He was like doing a pop quiz or something, and I was like, I'll take 200 for Get Back to Singing. But he was, what? He's old. I don't know what he's doing, but he was no Dwight Yoakam. No. Like, Dwight Yoakam is an entertainer.
He is an entertainer, and a talented one too. And
I don't think John Conley was ever an entertainer. You know what I mean? I don't think that his show has varied that much from whenever they were young. They were a studio band.
Yeah, I can see that.
So they sound great, but nobody wants to hear them talk.
And you got a lot of talking.
Yeah. So anyway, guys, all right, let's get on to the McAuliffe Minute. And this week we are going to do you name this movie and send me the email. It'll be in the show notes. And anyone who gets the name of the movie and the leading actor, you know what? Leading 2 actors, because they're co-leaders, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And here we go.
Holy shit, that guy on the wrong side of the highway. He's going to kill somebody.
Joker wants to race.
That's ridiculous.
All right, come on. Let's go. Let's go.
Put your window down.
You want something?
Probably drunk.
What? You're going the wrong way.
He said we're going the wrong way.
Oh, he's drunk. How would he know where we're going?
Yeah, how would he know? Thank you. Thanks a lot. Terrific.
Thank you. What a moron.
You're going in the wrong direction. You're going to kill somebody. You're going the wrong way.
What?
What I love, well, we can't say who that was, but you know who that was,
Mhm.
guys. If you know, send me an email, and we need the name of the movie and the two actors in that scene. Anyway, what else we have? Oh, we have the Hatch top 5 movies of you must see this week, or not this week. I mean, top movies of this week for whenever.
Well, you originally said the topic was we're going to pick 5 top movies, and
When
I said,
I said we, I meant you.
And so these are not my top 5 of all time. They're not top 5 in any category.
Nobody can ever do a top 5 of
No,
all
I
time.
know. That's why
all
I'm like,
bullshit.
I'm not doing that.
No. It's just like, give me 5 movies that you think I need to see.
Okay, so these are thought-provoking movies. We'll put it that way. They are ones that you're not going to see them for escapism or really entertainment purposes. They're going to be very thought-provoking.
All right.
So the first,
Interesting. That top 5.
nope. There's 5 that are thought-provoking that I think people should see at least once.
5 thought-provoking movies everyone should see.
Yeah.
Boom. Finally. All right.
You're going to like the first one. You're going to totally agree with me.
Okay.
A Clockwork Orange.
Oh, yeah. If you could see, we have a poster on the wall over here, or whatever you call it. Now, when did you see that movie?
Oh, man. Probably 10 years ago, I would say.
Okay. So you like waited a long time to see it.
Well, I mean, it's not age appropriate for children. So I was in my 20s and finally said, you know what? I think I want to watch
10
it.
years ago, you weren't like, no, don't give me
I
that.
was late 20s.
All right. I mean, you weren't like, barely scraping 20. Anyway. So, okay. So you're 27 at the time.
Sure. Whatever. Sure. Ish.
And
maybe 25.
so
Who
it's
knows?
still, I mean, I was seeing that movie when I was like 16.
Okay. But you would agree it's one everyone should see at least once.
Yeah. And I would say that 90% of people are going to be like, I didn't like it at all.
I hated it.
Did you hate it?
No, I found it very thought-provoking. It's very philosophical. I mean, my
It's
gosh.
very philosophical, and it shows you like just the behavior or what behavior humans are capable of.
It's also psychological, but
Right. Well, that's part of what you're capable of.
right.
And so, I mean, it was not only like a lot of brutality, it was also psychological, like abuse
Mm-hmm.
to whoever's watching it.
And it's a classic Stanley Kubrick.
Kubrick
You gotta,
can't.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree 100%. I'm a Kubrick fan.
I am too.
Like The Shining. Are you aware that is The Shining on your list?
It is not.
Okay. Don't want to take the air out of your sails, but like The Shining. Did you know Stephen King can't stand Kubrick
I know you had said that.
because he changed up all this shit in the book to suit himself? And
You sided with Team Kubrick.
I did. And I mean, the parts that he changed, I didn't think it really made me a difference. And that was to say, you know what? Kubrick was like, you know what? This isn't even a big deal to me, but because I can do it, here's a big F you, Steven.
Mm-hmm.
For real. And so that was it for them. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
Didn't mean to go off on a tangent, but yeah, I agree with you. If you haven't seen Clockwork Orange, I highly recommend it just to be one of the people who've seen it. Because
Absolutely.
in this day and age, I would bet a very small percentage of people under the age of 30 have seen it.
I agree. And it's one everyone should see once. And give us your thoughts about it. I mean, really, if you didn't like it, tell us why you didn't like it. If you loved it,
Yeah. And the other thing is, like, certain films like hold up over time.
yes.
That movie doesn't. Like the
Oh,
film,
no.
you know what I mean? It is so the time frame of when it was made.
Absolutely. And this came out in 71.
Right.
You don't know that.
So I mean, if you've seen a lot of movies,
And
it's
the
like,
book was written in the early 60s. So, yeah, it's very much a product of its time. We'll say that.
yeah. And you should definitely watch it like drinking. Anyway, all right. What's the next one?
All right. Next one I know you've seen. I'm going to go with Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
That is a very good movie.
Yes.
Like I really enjoyed that. It's one of those movies that I got lost in it.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, like,
You kind of almost have to have a preface of how to watch it at the beginning. You almost kind of have to have someone frame it for you so it makes sense and you're not totally confused.
yeah. And the way it cuts back and forth, you can forget like what is reality and what is not. That's what I mean by I get lost in it. 'Cause sometimes I'm like, is that really happening? You know what I mean? So no, I really enjoyed it though. And who was the main actor in that?
That is Jim Carrey and Kate Winslet.
Yeah, Jim Carrey knocked it out of the
Oh
park.
my gosh,
too.
one of my favorite roles of his of all time, for sure, like hands down.
Now, let me ask you this: do you consider it to be a everyone should see Truman?
I love the Truman Show.
I hated it.
Why?
Oh my
Why?
god, it sucked.
Why?
It was so slow.
Oh
It
my
was so
gosh.
boring. Oh, no, thank you. But my wife loved it. My wife, that's one of her all-time favorite movies.
Oh man, yeah. The Truman Show has a lot of deep, I guess, theological questions in it. You know, a little bit of philosophical, but yeah.
Yeah, it was damn. Right. Anyway, all right. So, what's your next one?
All right. Have you heard of the film Mother?
Oh, I love that
Did you-
movie.
You're like one of 5 people on the planet who
Me
saw
and my
that.
wife, we love that movie.
Okay, so this one has Jennifer Lawrence and Javier Bardem. Are we talking about the same one?
Oh, we are not.
Oh, I knew you hadn't
Oh
seen it.
my
I
God.
knew it. I'm like, really?
No, you've watched the wrong Mother. That's the problem. And I'm sure you've seen the one I've seen.
I don't know what you're talking about. No, I think there's a show called, isn't it Mother?
Well, tell us about your
So Mother is one of those, and it's what is it, Darren Aronofsky or whatever. It's one of his. He did Black Swan. He did Requiem for a Dream. This one came out in 2017, and it's one of those you're watching it and you're like, okay, clearly this is symbolic. This is an allegory for something. What is going on here? And you're watching it, and you're and then all of a sudden, for most people, there comes a time when it dawns on you what this entire film represents. And anyways, and it's very brilliantly done just because it's very unique. It's very original, I'll say that. But it's a weird one. Again, still think it's something everybody should see once. Really.
okay, you know what? But it's the wrong movie.
Well, tell us about your mother. My gosh.
Yes. All right, here
You're
you go.
still-
I'm gonna let you listen to a clip.
You have to come 2 hours earlier. We're going to have dinner together. I made great beef stew. There. What else can I get for you?
No, Mother, I'll tell you, I'm really not hungry at all. I ate at a truck stop, so this is fine.
Well, I have some whole spaghetti, but it has meat sauce in it. Can you eat lamb chops?
Well, what the hell is a lamb? It's meat. I told you, I don't eat it.
Well, it's not a cow. I didn't know if it was the animal you were siding with or the whole thing.
The whole thing.
Want some cheese?
No, the salad is fine, I promise.
I'm going to give you some cheese.
That's a lot of cheese.
Got it in hunks.
Mother, look at the date. It's 3 years old.
Oh, it's been in the freezer.
Yeah, but how cheap was it that you wanted to buy this much of it?
Honey, this is wonderful cheese. It comes from Switzerland. Very hard to get.
How could it be hard to get? It's all here. I don't want this.
Now, dear.
Mother, stop. I don't want any. I don't want any.
Well, you've never seen that, Mother.
I have not seen this Albert Brooks.
That's one of his best all-time movies. All right, so go ahead and tell me about your mother. I mean, not your mother, but the movie you're talking about. I wasn't listening. I was.
Good Lord.
I mean,
Why don't you go back and
how
listen
old
to this
is it?
recording? It
How-
came out in 2017.
So it's relatively new.
Yes.
And so, what was the premise?
I can't tell you that. It's very symbolic. But
Oh.
it's very thought provoking. Like you're going to be sitting there going, this clearly is, representing something. What is it representing? And then it'll later on dawn on you. So, yeah. There's
Sometimes people are disappointed that things don't dawn on me.
and I've had some friends that it did not dawn on them. I had to tell them, but most people, they get it. So
I'm impressed that your friends were like, yeah, I didn't get it.
I didn't get it at all.
Ooh. All right, you got 2 left. What else you got?
All right. You ready for the next one?
I'm ready.
We've talked about this one recently, and I still want you to see it. It is The Tree of Life from 2011. Has Brad Pitt and Jessica Chastain. And it is about a Texas family back in the 50s. So has Sean Penn in it too.
And I love periodic movies.
Mm-hmm.
And in America's history, like I love movies that take us back to a time that I wasn't alive.
Yeah.
To see the culture, the technology.
So the director is Terrence Malick, and he's very artistic. He has a very distinct directing style, and it's, I don't want to say autobiographical, but it's semi-autobiographical.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's kind of his reflections on life and growing up and existence, our place in the universe. I mean, just very, very thought-provoking.
And this was in the 50s.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, there's a lot of great movies made about the 50s. And some that were dumb, but they were great. Like Grease.
Can't stand Grease.
What do you hate about Grease?
It has the worst ending of all time if you're a
I
female.
don't even remember the ending. What did the main character get raped or murdered?
It's basically saying if you want to get a guy, you have to change who you are.
Oh, so that's not the worst ending.
Sure, there are worse
If she was
endings
chopped
out
up
there.
into pieces.
She could have been murdered or raped.
Thank you.
yes.
Thank you. So it wasn't that bad. No, it was but that's how it was in the 50s.
And it's also all 35-year-olds playing 16-year-olds.
That's true. That's true. I'm not saying it's a good movie, but it's a cultural,
yes.
if you haven't seen Grease,
You gotta see
live
it.
under a
You
rock.
have to see it. Great music.
And I saw it when I was like junior high.
And it never dawned on you the woman had to change to get her man.
It never dawned on my parents that it was inappropriate for a young teenager to see that movie because I grew up in the 80s.
Oh my God.
I mean, I saw Do you realize that my mom and dad took me to The Exorcist in 1973? I was 4 years old.
Like, really judge your parents.
Oh, they had no idea what they were doing.
It's called The Exorcist. What did they think was going to happen?
Well, one, I don't even think my parents knew. My mother didn't even start going to church until she went to a Billy Graham crusade in 1976.
So she
And she's from Canada.
Did she go after she saw that movie?
No, apparently not. Took a few years. Because at that time, well, what's weird though is we saw that movie at the mall in Lubbock, and we didn't move to Lubbock till 74. So maybe that movie came out in 73, but they were still playing it in 74. You know what I mean? So I was probably 5, but I was old enough to remember, like, throughout most of the movie, I watched it like this.
Yeah, of course you did.
It was like, don't look, but I can hear everything. You know, blah, blah.
You skipped like 4 ratings or whatever, and
Yeah. Anyway, that's how it was when I grew up. I saw everything. I saw Jaws when I was a young kid. That's rated R.
No, it wasn't.
Are you sure?
Google it. I'm almost positive.
She has a phone right in front of her, and she's like, Google it.
If I think it was
She's
PG or
like,
not.
I'm not Olivia Newton-John.
Secretary.
I'm not doing shit.
This ain't Grease.
Yeah. Let's see.
No, I'm like, it's probably PG-13, but something makes me want to say it was PG. I could be wrong. Well, what's the verdict?
All right, give me 1 second. Original 1975.
Okay, well, it's not R.
Oh, forgot. It's PG.
I thought so. I'm like, yeah.
Well, you know what? Watching it, it should have been R. First of all, you had a naked girl swimming in the ocean. That's how the movie starts. And then you have like kids being pulled under the water and blood.
Yes.
That's not, the PG has changed.
I don't know why it's PG personally. So,
yeah, I would have never thought that was PG.
Well, I'm glad you experienced that as a child.
Have you seen Jaws?
Of course, I've seen
the original.
Jaws. I've seen 1, 2, and 3.
I've seen the first one. That's all I need to see.
That's all you need to see. The rest are awful.
If I don't.
I take it back. I didn't see 3. I just saw 2.
If I love a movie and they make a sequel, there's a good chance I'm not going to see it, especially if it's a whole new cast.
Well, you didn't miss anything with Jaws 2.
I'm sure. Oh, look here. We're not gonna. Oh, wait. Is that somebody calling from on the show?
I don't think so.
I don't know who Daniel D is. Let's see. Hello? Hello? Can you hear me now?
Hello?
Yeah, who's this?
DJ, Daniel.
Oh, hey, man, I'm off work. Can you call our buddy over there, Jacob Melendez?
Okay. I didn't know if he was still on vacation or not.
No,
I just tried to call him.
No. All right, man. I appreciate it. Thanks. All right. We'll have to edit that out. Let's mark it. Boom. Look right there. Boom. We can do that now. You see that? Now I don't have to remember to take that out. It's like, there'll tell me.
Boom.
Anyway, while you tell us about your last one,
okay,
I'm going to pour myself another drink.
Did you ever happen to see, this came out in 2008. Did you happen to see the film called Doubt that had Meryl Streep and Philip Seymour Hoffman? It's based on I think it's a Pulitzer Prize winning play.
You know, I'm going to have to actually look that up because
she plays a...
what was the name of the movie?
Doubt. Doubt is really, really good. Again, very thought-provoking.
I love anything with Philip Seymour Hoffman.
He's great.
I really
was.
What do you mean was?
He died years ago.
What?
He had a cocaine or heroin overdose.
Are you serious?
How did you not know that? Why do you think he hadn't been anything in 100 years?
I knew they were on strike. I did not know he died. I love that guy. Did you ever see the movie he did where he was a gambling addict?
Wait, what's that one called? I think I did.
I'll have to look it up.
This
but
morning,
here, let-
before I spoke with Mrs. Miller,
oh,
I
is
took
he
the
a
precaution
priest?
of calling the
Yes.
last parish.
What do you say?
Oh,
The pastor.
I did not speak to the pastor. I spoke to a nun.
You should have spoken to the pastor.
So the whole premise
I
of this
spoke to a nun.
film,
No, that's not the proper route for you to have taken, sister. The church is very clear. You're supposed to go through the pastor.
Why? You have an understanding, you and he?
No, you have no right to go rummaging through my
You
past.
have a history. This is your third parish in 5 years.
Call the
What?
Oh, yeah. I want to see that already. Just from that little clip, I want to see that because, first of all, I love him as an actor.
oh, he's great. So the whole premise of this movie is, do you think he molested one of the boys in this school?
Is he the priest?
He's the priest, or did he not? And the way that they do it is really brilliant because you're constantly going back and forth.
Oh.
Yeah. So you never can just, definitely settle on one side. And they both do fantastic acting jobs in it.
And that came out in about 2008, you think?
Yep.
So, yeah, he's done a lot of movies that I still haven't seen, but I need to see them.
Well, he's not producing more, so you've got plenty of time to see them all.
Well, you never know that.
AI,
No, I'm saying you don't know if I have that long.
this is true.
So, let's see. I want to say it was. I can't remember the name of the movie. So let's see if. Oh, Owning Mahoney.
No.
Oh my gosh!
I see the title "Owning Mahoney," and that doesn't just jump out at me.
No, it doesn't. It was one. It was a movie that we actually just stumbled upon.
I'm like, that's one you just.
He was promoted to assistant branch manager of a Toronto bank, a position that gave him access to bigger accounts and large sums of money. His boss loved him. Owning Mahoney.
But it was like he was this nerdy banker guy, and he started taking out loans, and if he won, he paid back the loan, and he had a shit ton of money. And I mean, he wasn't going to the casino with like $200. He was going with like $20,000.
Wow.
And then he might come home with like 100,000 extra.
He's also in Boogie Nights. If you want to check that one out.
I've seen parts of that movie, and it's never been one that I'm like, I'm interested. I'm really not. Are you? Have you seen it?
I've seen it several times.
Several times. So you liked it?
I saw it once on my own, once for a film class, and then probably like once it was just on TV or something. So like HBO.
Yeah, it wasn't one of those 70s films that I was interested in.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to go 70s films, I'm going to name one you're probably going to be like, I hate that. Saturday Night Fever.
Yes, it's awful.
I think you just have something against John Travolta, is what I see.
I want to be friends with John Travolta.
But do you like his movies? Give me a movie he did that you liked.
Pulp Fiction.
Anything else?
You said one.
I know, but now you're on a roll.
Look Who's Talking. He's the voice in that.
That one's I can't consider that a John Travolta movie.
I mean, I saw Phenomenon. I saw Michael. He had all those 90s things.
I didn't like any of those movies.
Yeah.
In that Face Off, hated it. You remember that one?
Oh yeah.
Who was that? The
Nicolas
Cage.
Yeah.
They swapped faces.
The thing about John Travolta is he's done a lot of really bad movies, but he seems like such a nice guy.
He seems like the coolest guy. Like you want to just hang out with the dude.
I follow him on Instagram. He seems just like a normal dude, and he makes all these awful films.
You know what celebrity I follow? I don't follow very many, but you know which one I follow because I find him very interesting as a person because he's always sharing like lives with his family.
Who?
Sylvester Stallone.
Get out of town, really.
He's like they go on these family trips, and I mean, they're just having fun, you know?
That's awesome. Good for him.
Yeah. And so once I mean, I stumbled across one of his videos while he was doing a family thing, and I was just like, that shocks me.
Did you see that film Travolta was in about the Bubble Boy?
Oh, yes. Was that a movie or was that a TV special?
I don't know. I thought it was a movie. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it was a TV
I
special.
just think of the Bubble Boy.
Yeah.
movie.
Well, you're referring, they didn't call him the Bubble Boy. That was Seinfeld. The Bubble Boy.
Once Seinfeld names it the Bubble Boy, that's what you're called. You're the Bubble Boy.
Yeah, you know what? I remember that movie on TV when I was a kid, and it was awful.
I barely remember it.
In fact, really and truly, like you know what? Jive Talking, Saturday Night Fever, that movie was like a cultural, you have to see that movie.
Well, we were just talking about this last night. One of the worst movies ever, and this is probably going to anger some of your viewers, is Urban Cowboy. That is truly an awful movie, but he gained notoriety for that for whatever reason.
Well, I mean, he had already done the Saturday Night Fever.
Mm-hmm.
So then when he flips it and does the midnight rodeo dancing guy, you know, it was like, of course. And I didn't tell you this. So my dad was a conductor for the railroad, Santa Fe. And they hauled freight from wherever to wherever, but that's what you do. But one trip after Urban Cowboy, he had 2 passenger cars tacked onto the rear of his train, and it was John Travolta in one car, and the other car was Ed McMahon.
Shut up.
And they were traveling from like Houston to California.
That's awesome.
They had their own business cars, like they owned them.
Oh, wow.
And so anyway,
can I own one? Can you tote
oh,
me
absolutely.
Okay, I want to be toted around.
There is
How much do those things cost?
I mean, it depends, you know,
I
if
need
you
a
want
fancy one.
Yeah, that's pretty high dollar.
Okay.
But there's a group of people, and I'm sure there's multiples, but I know of one group out of Southern California, and once a year, they basically pay the railroad to bring their locomotives down and couple them into like 15 cars, and all 15 cars are different families or individuals, and they take them all over the freaking place.
So why don't we rent one for the faculty and go all over the country recording and smoking cigars in it?
That would be cool. I mean, I kind of think that might be like a good way to die.
It would be awesome.
It would be awesome.
But I'm gonna need a fancy car.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I mean, really, you need one fancy car, and then you need sleeper car.
I'll sleep in the fancy one, and you guys can go and
No, the fancy one is like the lounge area where we're smoking, eating, drinking.
All right, fine.
Yeah.
We're gonna need a chef too.
Zeka would be a hell of a chef. Like if I could do like a week trip like that and have Zeka cooking, that would be amazing.
Can we make that happen? A cigar talk.
Oh, you know what? Let's
via the
start
rail?
we're gonna start a GoFundMe
Yes.
for Cigar Talk on the rail. I like it. I dig that. All right. So tell me the name of the last movie again. Doubt. Okay. I remember seeing like maybe a poster for that, and I was like, man, Catholic shit.
I know. And again, these are not
Not,
films.
hey, no offense to those who are Catholic. I was just like, I'm not into going and seeing religious films.
Right. And I'm not promoting it as a religious film. I'm promoting it as
But when you see, I'm saying when you see the guy's a priest and a nun, you're like, oh, I don't want to see.
Yeah, we're not promoting theology in this film. It's just very thought-provoking and very it's just a good movie. I can see why the play won the Pulitzer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it was a direct play as well.
Yes, it was originally a play. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So off topic here. What is that? What's her name? That blonde that is on Good Morning America, the series. Not Jennifer Aniston.
Reese Witherspoon?
Yes.
You mean the morning show?
Yeah. That's it. Are you aware that she's like a billionaire?
Yeah, because she's freaking awesome.
Do you know how she made all that money?
Was it the Books Club or whatever?
Boom.
Yeah.
Do you know why? She's a genius.
Yeah.
Because she's a celebrity, she automatically has all these people coming out to check out a book that's released on her platform. And she says to everyone, hey, you can release your book on my platform. I'm not charging you. It's going to give you a lot of exposure, but I automatically get first rights for any movie deal.
No, and I'll tell your listeners, I know you guys have a lot of men on here, but if your wives are really into reading, she actually has this like gift set that you can order. It comes in the mail. It's got a book. I think it's got some socks, maybe something else, but it's this little, package deal that you can give as a gift for somebody. So
where do you find that and how much was it?
I don't know how much it is. I think it's just on her website.
Okay. What's her website?
Well, I'm sorry. I'm not like
Rith.
I'm not
ReeseWitherspoon.com.
Yeah, I'm not a groupie.
Do you know what her book club's called?
No, I know nothing about the book club other than she has one.
Oh, I didn't. I thought maybe you were a part of it. You like to
No.
read?
Well, I love to read. I don't typically read. Well, I've read some of the stuff she's recommended, but most of it I haven't. So.
Okay. So I haven't read any of the things that she's recommended.
So, like, I'll give you an example. That and they just made this into a movie, that Where the Crawdads Sing. It came out a year or two ago. That book really gained national attention because she pushed it, and she was a producer for the movie. And so because of her, that book really took off, hence the book club, the power of the book club, basically.
Well, what impresses me about the whole Reese is that she's a billionaire because she's a badass businesswoman.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? That's like, you don't see, a lot of people are going to say, you don't see a lot of women that are that successful doing something like that. And I would break it down and say, you don't see very many people do something like that.
No.
You can't even confine it to men or women. She's just a badass business person.
Absolutely. And she does, I mean, she's done, producing, directing, acting, and really good stuff. I mean, she really has. It's not just that Legally Blonde.
I follow her as well.
Yeah, she's good.
Whatever. She posts some funny shit.
Yeah, I like her.
Now, the other two people, well, I say people. What's the name of the podcast that I love with Bateman?
Oh, Smartless. If you're not listening to Smartless, oh my gosh.
They're like, we're listening to Smartless every week here.
Yes, I'm like, oh my gosh. I was an early adopter of that in 2020 when they started it. And then Rob 3 years later comes along and is like, have you heard of this? So it is fantastic.
And to be fair, the only reason I even found out about it was because they have a Netflix special where they actually take their podcast on the road.
It's an HBO Max.
And it's badass.
Mm-hmm.
Because all the show that they're showing, it's all done in black and white, which I'm a huge fan of that. And it's done like you're just hanging out with them for the travel part.
Yeah.
They show you like parts of the show,
Yeah.
but mainly, well, I don't know, it's 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
But they go around, and the premise behind the show is there's three of them on the show. Jason Bateman's one, and Arnett.
Will Arnett and Sean Hayes.
There
And
you
they've
go.
all been friends for 20 or 25 years, like really close friends.
And they talk a lot about like back before they got into the business. Well, at least Arnett and the other one, because Bateman's been in the business since he can. Yeah.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah. Billy Baby Bobble Bonkers. That's a twister. But no, I highly recommend that you check out that podcast, because I mean,
It's great if you're just having a bad day and need a laugh. I mean, it's perfect.
it's not serious.
It's not
It's
serious.
just laid back. Hey, you're a dumbass. I'm a dumbass. Let's have fun.
And a lot of celebrities get asked stupid questions over and over and over, and they don't do that. Because they've been asked them over and over and over, so they know how to navigate that.
Yeah, and I hate those regular same old. That's
Mhm.
why I got to where I'm like, here on this show, we interview people like in the cigar realm.
Right.
And you know what question I hate? So, how did you get into cigars? You know what I mean? I'm like, nobody really gives a shit, but that's a check off the box.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like, oh, so you loved it, and then you did this and this and this, and oh, so what made you go into the business? Like, all right. I'm like, hey, were you mentally abused as a child? Like, you don't even understand. You heard Ed today. You ask Ed, does anybody know Ed's secrets? And who did he say? He said Rob.
Yes, he did.
And I'm like, yeah, because when I get him over here and it's just me and him, like, he will answer any question I ask.
Ooh.
And so we have a couple of cigars. We've had a couple of bourbons. And I'm like, I'm asking him questions. Like last time I said, how much time you think you got left, Ed? I mean, who asked those kind of questions? But I'm interested. You know what I mean? I'm like, hey, dude, have you thought this through? He's 72.
If you haven't thought it through, you need to start thinking about it.
I'm
Ed.
like, hey, dude, time's ticking. Let's plan some fun shit, you know? But I will ask Ed anything that pops into my brain, and which can be scary for some. But Ed always answers. But I loved when you asked him today, you said, does anybody know you? Like your deep.
I said, who do you tell your deepest, darkest secrets to?
Yeah. And he said, I tell him to Rob because he gets me drunk. I was like, I did not know that, but good to know, Ed. Whatever it takes. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this week's show. We want to say thank you to Hatch for filling in for COVID Boy. And next week, we are going to have a special guest. We have Mike. I'm not going to tell you any more than that because I don't remember his last name. But anyway, his name's Mike, and he is in the cigar industry. It's a recent endeavor. And I wanted to have him come on and say, hey, what's it been like? How hard is it? And what would it take for somebody else that's interested to do it? You know what I mean? Like, I have no interest. Like, I used to think I wanted to open my own shop. Hanging out at the Leaf, I'm like, I want no part of this. You know what I mean?
It's not just running a cigar business. It's a lot of
It's a people person
business.
It's a people business. And
Yes.
the thing about it is
A lot of personality.
what I found out is I don't like a lot of people. But the ones I do like, I love. But those that I don't, they rub me the wrong way. Anyway, guys, thanks for hanging out with us, smoking cigars, drinking some bourbon. And until next time,
just keep smoking. Now, honey, you gotta watch your mother. The other mother.